TV chef Nick Nairn, who cooked a meal with Martha this week, had this message of support.
It's a really good thing. There's nothing critical in this. She's simply highlighting what actually happens to her, what she gets to eat, and it's attracted interest.
When the council banned her taking photographs, it became really intense. It was many times more intense. We were getting 1,000 emails an hour about it. And my phone started ringing at 4:30 in the morning and didn't stop until 1:30. And because there was an element of that kind of eye-opening at the start, our numbers had got out there. And one of the real problems we had was that foreign media were phoning the swimming pool where I've got an involvement, and they were blocking their switchboards, they were blocking the switchboards at the hospital. And so I had to give out our phone numbers so that all these services could continue running.
I had to be smuggled out of school because there was a television camera at the gate.
Overnight, I had no control, and it was about protection. And so to start with asking the school's permission, that was all about just kind of controlling and managing the situation carefully and sensibly and things. But once it took off, it was protection. Martha chose what to write about, and she wrote about the things that she wanted to write about her food that day. And I felt that my job was to protect her from the world's media and to protect her from there wasn't any nastiness. It was just the incredible number of contacts that people wanted to make with her, and it seemed to strike a chord with parents. It struck a chord with kids and kids from around the world, that there was just a constant flow, and people really felt that they knew Martha from what she was writing, and people had various different ideas of her. Some people painted her as a food guru, some people painted her as you know, some kind of highly developed thinker, and there's a little bit of everything in there, but she's not one or t'other. She's just a 9-year-old girl who likes to write about things, and she chose to write about food.
I'm trying to picture that situation, and I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, and actually that does make me feel scared. How do you go about protecting yourself from that kind of onslaught? I do think I'd find that terrifying.
It was, but I think there's a simple techniques which we would learn before about just saying no. I took time to speak to people when they did manage to get hold of me, but there was that fear that people would appear with cameras and with video cameras at the house, and that's what happened. And so the only way we could cope was to try and find a way of kind of releasing that safety valve on the pressure cooker. It was very hard. I look back at it now, I've never had stress like that, and there's nowhere to go. You can't hide, and you can't ignore it, because they will come and find you, so you have to confront it.
The site has had more than 2.5 million hits, but the local council has decided she can no longer take photos in the
council has issued a statement standing by its decision, saying they wholly refute the unwarranted attack on the school catering service. Press headlines have led staff, it says, to fear for their jobs, and it also points out, it says there's a strongly held view that the blog misrepresented the options and choices available. Now,
well, the leader of Argyll and Bute Council is Roddy McCush, and he joins me now, and I suspect it's Wimbledon time, Miss McCush, and many people might be tempted to say, in the words of the great John McEnroe, you cannot be serious.
Good afternoon, and thanks very much for giving me an opportunity to come onto the radio. I mean, there's no place for censorship in Argyll and Bute Council, and there never has been, and there never will be.
What would you call it then?
Well, I've just instructed senior officials to immediately withdraw the ban on pictures from the school dining hall.
Ah, right. So you've changed your mind.
Well, it's a good thing to change your mind, and I've certainly done that. I mean, but also regarding the situation regarding the dining hall staff, I mean, we've got to accept there's absolutely no place for that type of reporting in a national newspaper. That was completely...
That complaint should be aimed at the newspaper, not at the little girl, surely?
Yes, 100% agree with you there. 100% agree with you there. And that's why I've instructed senior officials to withdraw that. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Cush, thank you very much indeed for joining us. What you call, I think, a news-breaking interview, a change of mind announced on the programme.
The row meant even more publicity, and Martha started to wonder if the blog could help others.
Someone made a comment on the blog saying, why are you complaining, at least you're having school meals. So then we thought about the people who didn't have school meals and decided to raise money.
And this is what that money went towards. A school kitchen in Malawi run by the charity Mary's Meals. It will feed nearly 2,000 children every day.
A schoolgirl from Scotland whose website attracted worldwide attention has raised more than £72,000 for charity.
Her original target was to raise £7,000 for the charity Mary's Meals.
Now more than 4,000 school children in developing countries, including Malawi, are benefiting from the fundraising efforts of a 9-year-old Scottish schoolgirl.
Dad set up a Just Giving page so none of the money came to our house and went straight to Mary's Meals. I called it Friends in Ever Seconds, all after the people that donated money.
The resulting publicity has led to millions of hits on her website and taken her fundraising total to almost £79,000.
Martha Payne has raised £100,000 through her blog about school dinners, which she set up to raise money for charity.
There were so many donations. There was enough to build a kitchen in the Rangway in Malawi and also feed 12,000 children for a whole school year.
So once you start raising money and the money tally starts going up and up, you're then in a difficult position, aren't you? Because, you know, on the one hand, you're probably sick to death of the media and the intrusion, and then suddenly when there's a way of raising money to help other people, that media and keeping the profile of the site up there becomes very important. Did you wrestle with that? Was that a difficult wrestle?
Yeah, it was, absolutely. You didn't want to miss a chance to help a charity. And the tactic that we developed was to keep saying no, no, no. And all of a sudden, if we were saying no, we were missing out on an opportunity. And that's why so much thought was put into whether we went to Malawi and went as a whole family to experience the kids. It's not cheap travelling to Malawi. It cost a lot of money to go.
You paid for that yourselves? Is
Yeah,
that right?
we did. And in my mind, I looked at the cost of the flights and thought, well, how much could this do for the charity if we just kind of made them a donation of the money? And it's very difficult to balance that up with, you know, the cost of column inches. I mean, column inches and time on TV is a lot more expensive to buy. But yeah, no, I struggled with that. And I'm not. It was a big family debate, and that's how we've always done things. We discuss things with grandparents and Becca and I and the kids as to whether we do and take up these opportunities that come along. And this was an opportunity, you know, off our own back to travel, but to share the story. And I thought if we shared the story, it would give people a chance to understand that when these things happen, it doesn't have to be the kid that benefits. It's not Martha's bank balance that's benefiting. There are ways of handling these situations so that other people benefit.
Did focusing this all on something which was meant helping other people mean that it was yours again?
Well, I never felt it was ours. I think at that point I felt it was the charity were using their staff to filter calls. So my phone was ringing less, my email was going less, and that was really important. And I felt I was using them. I was using them to protect us and use their experience to protect us. And that was a lifesaver, you know, stress and tension. And we were going into the summer holidays, and it was great to be able to spend time with the kids and not worry about the phone ringing, because every time the phone rang and you were speaking to someone, it was an interview, and every time you replied to an email you were giving a quote, and these things can all be twisted and can all be turned, etc. But by being able to hand that responsibility on, we were freed up to be a family again.
What's been the impact on your two other children, on Polly, your younger daughter, and Joe, who's a bit older than Martha? How have they responded to Martha being so much in the limelight?
We've taken choices, and some of the things that we've said no to are because, you know, these fantastic offers to go off all places were just for Martha. And so the things that we have said yes to are when we've been invited along as a family to do things, and they make it easier for it not to be solely about Martha and on Martha, because they're involved.
Martha and her family flew from Argyll to Malawi to see how the money she raised was being spent, and she got quite a welcome.
And so, to a wall of noise, Martha from Loch Gilphead met the children of Laranwi.
When we arrived, all 2,000 children at the school were outside lined up in classes, and they sang as I was introduced to the headmistress. Dad, Mum and Grandpa all had wet eyes.
The reason for so much gratitude is this: maize porridge, lacuna pala, their one meal a day. Donations to Martha's blog funded this school kitchen. It means that 2,000 children a day will no longer go hungry.
In the headmistress study there was a wad of papers pinned to the wall. It was the death record and listed the date, the name and the cause of death of the child. We don't have a list like that at our school.
The porridge gives this village hope for its children, and they intend to celebrate and say thank you.
I visited a village with no road or electricity to meet Ben. He is my age and lives with his mum and brother. The home has no furniture and so Ben sleeps on the floor. His family have enough food for dinner but not breakfast. When we played, I forgot Ben was hungry. I don't think he forgot. I think about Malawi not all the time, but often when I'm in bed and can't sleep, I think about Ben on the floor of his house and whether he is okay. I had my school dinner thinking about the children at Larangwe having theirs. It's not fair that so many children in Malawi and around the world are hungry and can't go to school. Mary's Meals is the world a bit fairer for children, and I like that. I like that a lot.
There's that part of me that wanted it to be a life-changing experience. And I think for an adult it's a life-changing experience. For a child it's just part of growing up. I can look back and with a sense that what they don't know is all the difficult things that happened along the way. And I feel that we've got to this point and I can put my hand up and say my family survived. There'll be bits they pick out, I'm sure, and look back and say that wasn't good. You know, mum and dad were knackered, they were tired, they were grumpy. There's been all those elements to it as well. You can't go through this without having sleepless nights and without being grumpy. So whether they'll look back and see it as a good thing or a bad thing, I think we'll have to ask them in a few years.
What, if anything, has this done to you, all this experience? Do you think you're a different kind of person, or do you view the world slightly differently, having gone through the experience of the past 8 months?
It's been a real eye-opener because I don't watch the news in the same way anymore. I don't listen to a news report and think, oh, well, that's straight up how it comes. I don't listen to lunchtime radio because I've had tricks played on me, and I know and I can hear in people's voices that same catch that was in my voice. And I think, well, no thanks.
I said right at the very top of this, I wondered whether as parents, yourself and Rebecca, have regretted that Martha created a bit of a monster. Has it been a monster, and do you regret it?
Yeah, it has been a monster because it's just been out of control, like a monster is out of control. And we've had to hang on for the ride and take decisions to try and protect Martha and protect the family. So it is a monster because you can't control where it goes and what happens. I don't regret it. I don't regret Martha writing about her food and being engaged in her food at all. The things that really threw it globally weren't of our doing. And so we're out with our control, and I can't worry about what other people do. I can only kind of worry what we do. And at the end of the day, there is this fantastic silver lining of what it has achieved for others.
I have learned that they can sing very loudly, that they don't have what we have, and that we need to appreciate what we've got. Yay!